Let's talk about how a single phone call can just completely upend a multi-billion-dollar global market. I mean, what happens when the biggest customer in the world for one single product just vanishes? We're about to find out.
This right here, this was the feeling that just sent a shockwave through the market back on September 19th. It's one sentence that really captures this huge sense of disappointment. And you know what? It all goes back to one single, highly anticipated phone call.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to trace the fallout from that call step by step. We'll follow the shockwave from a trading screen in Chicago to a farmer's field in the American Midwest, and then all the way to a shipping port in South America.
Okay, so picture this. The entire agricultural market is basically holding its breath. Everyone's waiting for news from this crucial conversation between the US and Chinese presidents. Hopes were really high that this call would finally break the logjam in the trade dispute.
But when the details of the call actually came out, all that optimism just evaporated. I mean, look at this disconnect. Traders were hoping to hear about tariffs, about reopening trade, about huge soybean deals. And what did they get? TikTok. Yeah, not a single mention of agriculture. The result was, pretty predictable. A massive and immediate sell-off.
So that phone call, that diplomatic dud, it had an immediate and a very real consequence. Because of this whole trade mess, China, and remember, they are the world's #1 soybean buyer, they just stopped. They stopped buying the new U.S. crop.
This number right here, this tells the entire story. Zero, zilch, nada. That's how many new crop U.S. soybeans China has bought for this whole marketing year. This isn't just a slowdown, folks. It's a complete standstill. It leaves this massive, unprecedented hole in demand. So, who's going to fill it?
And that zero sales number has a huge effect on the big picture. This chart really puts it into perspective. Just look at the export pace this year, now compared to last year or the 10-year average. Wow, it's completely fallen off a cliff. This is by far the worst export pace in a decade, and it's a direct result of losing your #1 customer.
So with the US basically sitting on the sidelines, where in the world is China getting the millions and millions of tons of soybeans it needs to feed its people and its livestock? Well, the answer is literally redrawing the global map of agricultural trade. Yep, the answer is South America. While the US is out of the picture, these three countries are jumping in big time. They are aggressively ramping up their sales to meet China's massive and unwavering demand.
Now listen, they are not wasting any time. China is already making record purchases from Argentina and Uruguay. We're talking almost 2.5 million tons already booked for next year's shipment. They are locking in their supply for the long term.
And then there's Brazil, where the story gets even bigger. Farmers there are seeing this massive opportunity, and they're going for it. They're projected to plant a record 121 million acres of soybeans. That's a nearly 4% jump, basically cementing their new spot as China's top supplier and a new global soybean superpower.
Now, this negative feeling, this cloud of uncertainty hanging over the soybean market, it's contagious. It's not staying put. No, it's dragging down related ag markets all over the world. It's a classic domino effect.
First up, the most obvious one, soybean oil. It's a direct product of soybeans used in everything from cooking to biofuel. So when demand for the beans is weak, the price of the oil gets pulled right down with it.
And it doesn't stop there. Next, you've got Canadian canola getting dragged down too. It's all part of the same big vegetable oil family. So when a heavyweight like soy oil takes a hit, the others feel it.
And the effect is honestly global. Even Malaysian palm oil, a huge commodity over in Asia, is feeling the pressure. Its futures are basically a mirror image of the losses that started on the trading floors in Chicago.
Now, to be fair, it's not just the trade dispute. It's more like a perfect storm of bad news. You've got a weaker outlook for biofuel, a stronger US dollar, which makes American stuff more expensive for everybody, plus a fast harvest up in Canada adding to the supply. It's just a whole web of negative factors.
But just when you think you've got the whole story figured out, a tale of bad diplomacy and shifting trade routes, bam! A new, totally unpredictable player enters the game, Mother Nature. And we're talking about the actual condition of the U.S. crop that's in the fields right now.
A really dry end to the summer has caused drought conditions to just spike across the U.S. Farm Belt. A staggering 36% of all soybean acres are now in a drought. That's stressing the plants out at the absolute worst possible time for them to grow.
And if the drought wasn't enough, crop diseases are everywhere. We're hearing stories like this one from farmers all over. This isn't just a projection. This is a real farmer who is expecting 260 bushels an acre, and he's getting 175. That is a massive financial blow.
So this sets up a really fascinating conflict, right? Can bad weather and disease actually push prices up, even with China not buying? If the U.S. harvest is smaller than expected, that could create scarcity, and that would fight back against all the downward pressure from the trade war. All of a sudden, you've got this epic battle between geopolitics and Mother Nature.
What this whole thing really drives home is just how deeply interconnected our global food system is. A political decision made in one capital city has very real consequences for a farmer's wallet and what's on a consumer's plate thousands of miles away.
And it leaves us with this fundamental question we have to ask about the true costs of these high-stakes geopolitical games. When you turn trade into a weapon, who is it that ultimately ends up paying the price?